economy. It's a bartering system. So if spirituality is experiential, what might a spiritual economy be like? And mind you, the groundwork has already been laid here.
Oh gosh, I hate to think that with the barter, you've got something I want. What can I give you in exchange?
Okay.
Can't see bartering for it.
I can see bartering for it though, right? Yeah.
Well, because you have to earn
It's Ken, this is a safe question for you.
it.
What do you think about an apprentice program?
Apprentice program?
Yeah. Did you go through one?
No, not formally, but you do training. When I started at the phone company, you have to do training. And it's like an apprenticeship. They don't call it that, but that's what it is. They sent us to a lot of training school,
Mm-hmm.
and some of it was good, and some of it was just experienced. Yeah, flying somewhere, doing something, being forced into something you don't want to do, and you find out it's not as bad as you thought. Now, I should have done this before, and you meet new people, see new sights, and you might even learn something in the process. But, you know, what you were saying about that kind of rang my bell, because I was thinking about what you were saying. I have a neighbor next door who is a negotiator for Teamsters, business agent. And this guy's a master negotiator. And I'll go ahead and say it because it's manipulator, you know, I'm
Yeah.
I heard you.
sorry. But what you were saying, it's negotiation, and he's good at it. And it's not all bad, because he talks for all his customers, his workers, his apprentice guys out in the field. He speaks for them to the managers, because they try to cut it their health benefits. Health is a big thing for unions, because they have to pay everything. So, you know, he does good for his guys. And I found out that he gets elected, they vote for him. So the best job he does for them means he gets more votes and he gets the job again. It seems like everything's back and forth, and that goes along with what you were saying. Trade-offs, bartering, sitting across from management. You know, that's a deep minefield.
And he gets a fee for that, right?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the groundwork is already laid. He gets paid for using his experience. So what is spirituality? It's experiential.
I was gonna say that.
It's experiential.
Right.
And life is not bartering. Life is an experiential event. That's just, you can't put it any other way. It's an experiential event. So what's that make religion? If we step away from, this is the nice thing about spiritualism, because spiritualism is not an organized religion. So religion is also what?
Experiential.
Experiential. As long as you step away from the doctrines. Because if you're caught up in the doctrines, it's no longer experiential. It's instructive, but it's not experiential. Because you have to do what somebody else tells you to do.
So limiting. So limiting.
Exactly. You read all these books on these mainstream religions and everything. Oh, this sounds good. But it all amounts to somebody else's ideas, somebody else's interpretation. Doctrine is somebody else's interpretation of what they've read. Somebody else's ideas. The nice thing about spiritualism is we're not an organized religion. We don't have any doctrines. You have to do this in order to do that, in order to do that. Unless, of course, you're trying to get a certificate. And then you got to know what you're doing to get to here. So you got to get a certificate for this, a certificate for that. And I'm just going to skip this one and go here. And what happens? You may have missed a very important step.
Right, missed out.
And if they choose to give you what you're after, because you're down here, and it happens, you've lost this whole experience with this certification here. So what might a spiritual economy be based upon? We're all spiritual people, right?
Of experiences.
Yes. Our experiences. And what about those experiences? What keeps you coming back for more?
Well, they're very personal, and once you reach a certain point, then you are ready to move on. Or if you still need clarification, or you still need more information, or whatever. And that's kind of where I am anyway.
And you're right. You're on the right track there. What are your thoughts, Sandy?
Well, I was thinking that it leads to growth. And that's the experiences hopefully lead you to growing, to growth, to more knowledge, to more understanding. And that maybe that's where the steps are. So you really can't skip a step because you're going to miss something. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know this, but I would think if you try to skip a step, you're probably never going to get past the step before the one you're trying to skip. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just like you're never really going to get past it. So you're probably going to be kind of stuck at that growth that you had already experienced. And if you're going to try to jump ahead, you don't have what you need to jump ahead, to get ahead.
Exactly. Right on track. You got it. You got it. So, a spiritual economy is going to be one based on implicit rewards. And implicit rewards are going to be satisfaction and dissatisfaction. The more of our experiences that grows, as both Sharon and Sandy were saying, and the soul realm, what they teach, what I've read in separate sources, is that as your experience increases and your awareness expands, you move up to the next level, in a manner of speaking. You get a new certification and you keep going. So the economy we are familiar with is a barter system, because we pay for goods and services. It's a barter system. However, when we make our transition into the soul realm, then our economy is going to be what we do and how we do it and how we feel about it. So the basic teaching of all spiritual information, and within spiritualism, they say, be kind. Just be kind. Because as you are sharing your kindness, as you experience your role in this kindness and the reciprocation from the other, what is it that we do in our guided meditation? We immerse ourselves in the sensation of what it feels like to be nurtured and to nurture. That is the spiritual economy. So we can essentially, we have an account and we can add to that account here. And I forget, Jesus said something. I think it was Jesus. This whole idea of there are many mansions, and he's talking about heaven and everything. And he didn't say house. He didn't say hollow. He didn't say hut. He said mansion. And what is a mansion?
Very big. Lots of rooms,
A
And
beautiful place.
lots of space.
lots of space, but it's usually magnificent. And what do we do here throughout life as we're looking towards retirement? Some of us are already there, some of us are working towards it. But what are we doing? We're laying up money for our retirement. It's the same principle. We're laying up energy, frequency, however you want to put it. We're laying that up. And when we do make our transition here, we gravitate towards wherever we're supposed to be at. Everything I've read about that says the same thing. Different words, different descriptions, but they all imply that as our awareness expands here, when we move from this realm to the next, we go to whatever level, if you want to put it, we belong to, and then we continue. So we want to have good habits when we leave this learning ground. Sandy, any thoughts or comments?
The thought occurred, and this isn't about but what you just said about the mansions, it just made me think that the sad part about that is that many people believe that's the end. You know, they don't, it doesn't acknowledge the next step. That doesn't mean that's where you're always going to be. I mean, it's where you need to be, but it isn't where you're always going to be. It gives you that hope, you know, that's what I think. So anyway, but yes, I always like that verse. I don't even know how to describe it, but I like it. I like the verse, but I wish it can't, maybe, you know, maybe at one time there was another sentence after that and it was taken away, you know, but I like it I still like it. Anyway.
What the souls say about this? You said that many people think that's where they go and that's the end. Well, what they teach with that is they acknowledge that many people, the religionists is how they term it, when they make their transition, when they go to that level and they think that that's as high as they're going to go. They think that's the end. But you have these other souls that are above them, that are beaming down upon them, if you will, encouragement, inspiration to spark that aspiration within them to become more. So they're not stuck there per se, just until their awareness begins to expand once more. So, Beth, any thoughts you'd like to share with us?
Many, but
Pick two.
no. I'm just thinking of the Paul Selig book we're working on, where those guides were saying that it's like climbing a ladder, like increasing your frequency or whatever. but there's always hands above you to help you up to the next one. I use that image a lot in some of my meditations.
That's a common teaching from souls to the circles and theosophy with Rudolf Steiner. He teaches the same thing. There are always, as a ladder, there's always a soul higher than us that's always reaching down for us to take hold of their hand. And that it is part of our being, part of our economy, our spiritual wealth, to reach down and grasp the next one, to help them up. It's a chain. Makes me think of Iron Man. You remember the Barrel of Monkeys game? Get your monkey. Ken, any thoughts you might like to share with us?
Yeah, Reverend Thomas isn't here, and I always like to bounce this off him because he likes the Course in Miracles also. And I read it constantly. And it's laid out like text, manual for teachers, workbook, I got it wrong. Text, workbook, manual for teachers, introduction, which comes at the end. Some people have said that you might be better off reading the workbook first, or reading the manual for teachers first. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I've been stuck in the text for so long, I haven't read some of those, and I just pulled off the text and went through and read a lot of it, and it's terrific, it's wonderful. I can see why they would say, maybe you should read it first. And you say to yourself, I looked at it, manual for teachers, I'm not a teacher. Oh, yes, you are. You are a teacher of God, G-O-D. You are a teacher of God.
Exactly. So
there you go.
Sharon, any thoughts?
Well, there was and I'll probably say something about a section in the book club, but there was a section in this chapter that we just read about the religious people, when you talked about the mansions and the implication of that, I go there to make a place for you, implying that you have to wait to get there. And then it's in this, whatever it was they said, there was, and I'm gonna look for it when I get home now, but there was a section where it said that religious people, the religions tend to teach that your reward is after you die. That after you die, all those things are gonna happen, not that they could happen now. And that saying, which is a great, I mean, the whole thing about the mansions, all that, but I think the missing part of that is that you can do that now. You do not have to be gone. You don't have to pass to do that. So, and when you mentioned that, it just made me, there was something in our book club chapter today that that kind of implied the same thing. So that was where I was going with that. So
Yeah, the idea is that Jesus taught that the Father is in me. So when you look upon me, you see the Father, and I am in you. So when Jesus goes to prepare the mansion, where is Jesus?
yeah.
Preparing you.
Yes.
You are the mansion. And you already got it.
Yeah, it was.
But if people were to understand that and fully grasp that, there would be no need for a majority of these religions that are out there preying on fear, preying on misery, preying on suffering, and encouraging you to continue to suffer needlessly. Whereas spiritualism teaches you that, everything is in harmony. Yeah, you're going to run into some crap, but you're going to run into some good stuff too. It's part of the way it works. And what this is all about how you choose to perceive it, how you choose to receive it. So I'm going to close with this. This realm, this physical realm, exists for us to cultivate experience. We learn about satisfaction, and dissatisfaction so that we may cultivate the proper experience. And I want to thank you for allowing me to share this with you, and I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts with me as well.
Very good service. I
Thank
enjoyed it.
you. Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you.